right. Well, thank you all for being here. Does mic work? I want to thank you all for being here. We still have work to do here in Springfield, and so I will keep my remarks brief. I had a very cordial call, a very gracious call from Representative Tom Cross this morning. He called to concede, admit in this race, that he's not going to pursue a recount going forward, and we had a good conversation about the direction the state needs to be going. And Representative Cross was very gracious in offering his help going forward, and we're looking forward to a time where we'll be able to sit down together and work on some of these issues. This race has attracted an awful lot of attention over the last 2 weeks, as there has been, I think, no other races yet to be decided. But what we found over the course of 2 weeks is there's a lot that we have in common. There's an agreement that we both need to work on reforming this office and taking a look at the Bright Start program going forward. So we're going to be talking over the next several weeks about what we've talked about on the course of the campaign. Making a greater investment in agriculture in the state, in Illinois-based venture capital, and addressing the issue of banking deserts in the state. And I look forward to bringing a good team together to address these issues. We just found out this morning that the race is over, but we have secured 2 co-chairs for my transition team. Michael Kerrigan, the president of the Illinois AFL-CIO, and Robin Kelly, Congresswoman and former director or former deputy treasurer in the treasurer's office under Treasurer Julius. So we look forward to getting back to work, to putting people in this work to state by making wise investments that help grow and diversify our economy, and looking forward very much to their help. So we do have work here to do in Springfield, but if people have questions about this race, I could take a couple before we get back to work.
What's your number on the margin? What does your campaign see in terms of what that number is?
We think our margin is somewhere around 9,600 votes. But I think Representative Cross acknowledged the margin is wide enough that we're going to focus on moving forward, and we'll leave the Illinois State Board of Elections to sort that out.
Do you think the voting process was completely fair, or were there problems that were identified through this process that you think need work?
Well, we were very happy with how the results came through. And we saw yesterday results coming through with strong numbers coming out of downstate and the suburbs that put us into the lead. And we were very happy and fortunate with the support we received.
Okay, a political question. I was talking to a lobbyist today who said, actually at the polling place they were talking about the positive ad you had with the tall thing. How much,
with the tall thing?
How much, what have you heard, how much, I know TV is just one part of a campaign, but how much was the ad on a part of the campaign, or part of the result? Yeah,
TV is one part of the campaign, and we were just very happy with all of the people. I want to thank the 3.5 million people who voted in this race. Whether they voted for me or they voted for Representative Cross or a Libertarian candidate, we're happy that people came out and exercised their right to vote. And you saw people waiting in line for hours on end. Some people waiting until 3 a.m. on Election Day to make sure their voices were heard. We were very pleased with that response.
You couldn't really reach that cat, though. If you look closely, that cat is beyond your reach.
I do have quite the vertical. Well, actually, I used to have quite the vertical.
One of the things that a treasurer, if I'm correct, has to do is sign off on any borrowing the state will have to do, and I don't know if that's in the plan of the Ronner team. Have you talked to the Ronner team? Do you have any opinion on borrowing if they needed to plug any budget holes within the next several months?
We've reached out with the Ronner team, and we'll be meeting with him shortly, tomorrow.
What role do you think Representative Cross will play beyond just sitting down and having some meetings with him? Will you invite him in and
yeah. We talked. Tom Cross has a couple decades of experience in state government. He spent the greater part of this last year thinking about this office, and we're going to be soliciting ideas and input from all parties. And I think few people have spent more time thinking about it than Representative Cross over this last year. And we talked about sitting down and finding ways to work together.
What's your biggest challenge in the foreseeable future once you step into the new seat?
Well, I think the big challenge right now is putting together a transition team. We feel very good about the people who have agreed to lead this transition team, but we're going to be adding more people to it as we go forward, and looking to people from different backgrounds, different parts of the states with different experiences to make sure that we have a good team in place to implement our agenda.
In the last 12 to 24 months, we've seen the state's credit rating plummet, to say the least. What is your hopes to bring back some respect to the state's credit rating?
Yeah. We look forward to working together in a bipartisan manner, in the way I have done as a state senator. I come from part of a state where I have a Democratic representative and a Republican representative. And we find that we're most successful when we work together on solutions.
Speaking of bipartisan, it appears that you performed well and outperformed Governor Quinn in some areas. And the campaign's talking about Rauner, Frerichs votes. What does that say about you in terms of your appeal to Republicans and independents? And will that help you in this office and perhaps beyond?
Well, clearly there were lots of people who came and voted for Governor-elect Rauner and Treasurer to be Frerichs. We're very happy. We tried to appeal to everyone, but what we're going to focus on now, after the course of a long campaign where we're fighting for votes, is now we'll be a treasurer for all 13 million people in the state of Illinois. Partisanship falls aside.
What part of your victory do you credit to the legal changes that were made on mail-in, absentee, same-day registration, et cetera? And you were down 17,000 plus, won by 9,000 plus. That's like a 27,000 vote swing. That's huge. So, did those changes to the law really impact your victory there?
When you win a race, a statewide race, with 3.5 million votes cast, and you win by less than 10,000 votes, less than one vote per precinct, the precincts in the state of Illinois, there are any number of people who can claim credit for that victory. And quite frankly, in the 24 hours or so we've had a good idea we've won, lots of people have called to claim credit on that victory. And so, we'll let the political prognosticators, we'll let the political scientists determine what caused selection. We're looking on moving forward and transitioning towards running the office.
Is the ICASH going to change at all? I mean, do you see that program as a positive right now and any particular change?
What we're going to do is we're going to bring in some outside eyes to look at this office. We're going to conduct an audit on day one. We said that throughout the course of the campaign to reevaluate and make sure we're spending our money wisely and that we're doing it efficiently. And I think that's what my campaign transition team is going to work on.
And how tall is your daughter and how old is she now?
She's growing every day, but she's still 6 and will be 6 for nearly another year.
University basketball programs,
The university basketball program, what?
reaching out to her.
No, but we're looking forward to a good season at the University of Illinois this year.
Just to follow up,
Yes.
I mean, obviously, the late votes helped, so do you think that that was a strategy that you had counted on, or did you think that that would help when you supported that bill? Right?
Our strategy all along was to reach as many Illinoisans as possible, talk about our plans to reform the office, and to make investments help grow and diversify our economy. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what people came out to vote for.
And since that law is only a one-shot deal, should it be renewed? To have the provisional type votes go?
That's probably a question for the Senate President and the Speaker of the House. I don't know how much longer I will be around here in Springfield. But we do have work to be done here in Springfield, and so I want to thank you very much for coming out here today. Thank you for your coverage. All right, Bernie.
You're midterm, right?
Yes.
So will you resign before the inauguration, and do you have anybody in mind?
I don't believe I will serve as the state senator and state treasurer at the same time.
Understood. Any successor you prefer?
Oh, no. We have lots of good people, lots of smart people in Champaign and Vermilion counties. We're going to let people step forward, and I think that it'll be up to other people to make that decision.
Does the interest in this race inform you in any way in terms of combining treasurer and controller?
Oh, yeah, I still think we can combine these offices. I've agreed before the election with both candidates for comptroller to work with them to find ways to work together to streamline the offices. And then I think if we show we can work together and we show we can create efficiencies, I think the case for combining the offices will be easier.
Have you talked to the controller yet?
No, I have not spoken to her yet.
Other than the audit, what do you want to do on day one?
I think that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to come and have an audit. We have other things that we said we want to do in the course of the campaign. We need to make sure the office is running smoothly before we begin taking steps.
And about Rauner tomorrow, are you going to meet with him, you and him
Yes.
personally?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's going to do that audit? How do you arrange it?
That's what the transition team is going to work on. We think there are plenty of people out there, plenty of organizations that want to help out our state, that want to help go in the right direction. I think when you saw in Cook County when President Preckwinkle came in, that was the approach she took, and we'd look to follow that example.
You're just looking at all the processes and all the services and the office in general, efficiency, and that's what the...
Yes.
Mike,
Right.
I mean, was it ever in doubt in your mind, given the way the totals were over the last 2 weeks?
We have hope, It's somewhat a cliche, but my hometown was hit by a tornado a year ago Monday. And there were people there who I'm sure there was a period of darkness there, where there was some doubt about how are we going to rebuild, how is this town going to go forward. But there were people who aren't quitters. They didn't give up, and they rolled up their sleeves and immediately went to work. And we're going to do the same thing. It doesn't matter if there was a period of doubt. We're going to get to work, and we're going to help lead this state in the right direction.
So you
Thanks.
you yourself had a little doubt for a while. Is that what you're saying? This time cause a tornado?
I want to thank you all for coming here. We're going to get back to work in the Senate. I still have at least another month or two serving as a state senator. But thanks very much for your time.
Does that mean Cross was the trailer park?
He got rolled apparently. Good job. Devastating destruction.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.